All right, let's talk about one of the most interesting and honestly weirdest days in top-level chess recently. We're looking at round 5 of the Sinquefield Cup, a huge tournament. And if you just looked at the results, you'd think it was the simplest day imaginable. Yep, that's the number. 0. Not a single winner. Every single one of the 5 games played that day was a draw. In a tournament this important, where every half point matters, that's just wild. So you're probably thinking, a day where nothing happened, right? Well, that's the big question, isn't it? If you think 5 draws equals 5 snooze fests, you're in for a surprise. Because behind that simple number 0, there's a whole world of insane preparation, nail-biting human mistakes, and some seriously clever strategy. So let's break down what really happened, starting with a draw that was born from pure cold perfection. Okay, first up, let's see how a draw can actually be the sign of 2 players operating at an almost superhuman level. This is a story about a fight that was pretty much decided before the players even sat down at the board. That's what it feels like to walk straight into a perfectly laid trap. Alireza Firouzja, one of the most exciting creative attackers in the world, came to this game with what he thought was a secret weapon against Levon Aronian. He was ready to cause some chaos. And here is that weapon. Firouzja just unleashes a hurricane on the board. He sacrifices one pawn and then another. These are shocking, brilliant moves. They're designed to make his opponent freak out, panic, and just collapse under the pressure of the attack on their king. But here's the thing. Aronian didn't panic. He barely even blinked. He played his responses instantly, move after move, because he'd seen it all before in his preparation. He knew the entire line, the one perfect defense, and he just shut it all down. Firouzja's incredible attack was completely diffused, and the game was over in a draw in less than an hour. And who better to sum it all up than the legend Garry Kasparov himself, who was watching live? He said it perfectly. This isn't about someone failing to win. No, this is what modern, top-level chess looks like. It's a battle of deep, computer-aided preparation, a perfect attack met by a perfect defense. But, okay, not all draws are so clean. Let's do a complete 180 and look at a game that was the polar opposite. The game between Duda and Gukesh. This one was a mess. A beautiful, chaotic, and deeply human fight where both players were brilliant and both players made huge mistakes. So this is where things get completely nuts. Duda has been suffering the whole game, just getting squeezed, and then bam, he plays this unbelievable move, just giving up material and leaving his own rook totally hanging. It's a desperate, genius try to flip the entire game on its head. And he follows it up with this, another quiet little move that is just absolutely incredible. For the second time in a row, he's just ignoring his hanging rook to build up this killer attack. You can just imagine Gukesh on the other side, completely stunned. Duda is right on the edge of a legendary comeback. And this was the final blow, the finishing move. This simple little bishop move would have won the game on the spot. It's just a beautiful, elegant idea that completely traps Gukesh. But in the chaos of the moment, with the clock ticking down, he missed it. It was absolutely heartbreaking. Gukesh himself said it best after the game. It just got too wild. This is the human side of chess, right? He admitted that the position was so complicated that even he felt totally lost. This draw wasn't about perfection. It was about 2 brilliant minds pushing each other so far into chaos that neither one could find their way out. So we've seen the perfect, computer-like draw, and we've seen the chaotic, human draw. But there's a third kind of draw that's just as important, the strategic draw. And for this, we have to look at the man leading the tournament, Fabiano Caruana. Now, to get why this third draw is so important, you gotta look at the scoreboard. See that name at the top, Fabiano Caruana? He's the sole leader, but just by a half point. He's got a pack of the world's best players breathing down his neck. So, with the rest day coming up, his goal isn't necessarily to win, it's to not lose. And that's why this quote from him is so perfect. He came out of his game and basically said, yeah, that was boring. And he was right. Compared to the other games, his was quiet. He played a very safe, very solid opening, took 0 risks, and just steered the game to a calm, peaceful draw. So why would he do that? Because when you're in the lead, A draw isn't a failure, it's a huge success. He took a dangerous opponent off the board without any risk, he kept his lead, and now he gets to relax on his day off while everyone else is still chasing him. It was a masterclass in tournament strategy, disguised as a boring game. And you have to remember, the stakes are massive here. It's not just about winning this one event. For a lot of these guys, getting a top spot here is their last and only chance to qualify for the big Grand Chess Tour finals. So every single half point could be the difference in their entire season. The pressure is just immense. Okay, so let's circle back to where we started. Was round 5 a boring day of chess? No way! Not even close. What we saw was a day of perfect, tense balance, where the incredible skill and pressure just canceled everything out. I think this is the real takeaway here. At this level, a draw is almost never just a friendly agreement. It's what happens when an unstoppable force of preparation meets an immovable object of defense. It's the result of a perfectly balanced war. And that war is nowhere near finished. After the players get a day to recover, we have some monster matchups coming up. Gukesh versus Firouzja? That's guaranteed fireworks. And the leader, Caruana, has a tough game with the black pieces against the super solid Sam Sevian. Which really just leaves us with one final question. Caruana has the lead, but the pack is right there. In a tournament this tight, where a draw can mean so many different things, the fight to the finish is going to be brutal. The only question is, can anyone actually stop him?